Ever say yes when you really wanted to say no and then felt totally guilty afterward? You're not alone, and today, we're fixing that. Hey everyone! Welcome back to Mental Wealth Daily, your go-to spot for tips that boost your mental well-being every day. Today, we're diving into a super important topic: how to set healthy boundaries without feeling guilty. Boundaries might sound like a tough or even scary word, but really, they're just about knowing what you're comfortable with and protecting your time, energy, and emotions. If you've ever wanted to say no but felt bad afterward, or worried about disappointing someone, you're definitely not alone. In this video, I'm going to share why boundaries matter, why guilt happens, and most importantly, practical steps you can take to set your boundaries confidently and kindly. So, let's get started. So, why are healthy boundaries so important? Well, think of boundaries like fences around a garden. Seedling, they don't keep everything out, they just protect what's growing inside. Your time, your energy, your peace of mind, they all need space to thrive. And the best part? When you model healthy boundaries, you also give others permission to do the same. It's a win-win. When you don't set boundaries, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, resentful, or even burned out. You start saying yes to things that drain you and no to the things that actually matter. And over time, that takes a toll on your mental health and your relationships. But when you do set clear, respectful boundaries, you create space for balance. You honor your needs without shutting others out, and that's where true connection and self-respect begin. It's not about being selfish. It's about showing up in your life with more energy, more clarity, and more authenticity, because you're no longer stretched thin or saying yes out of guilt. And the best part? When you model healthy boundaries, you also give others permission to do the same. It's a win-win. Now, let's talk about the guilt, because for a lot of us, that's the hardest part. You finally decide to say no, or ask for what you need, and suddenly, guilt shows up like an uninvited guest. But why? Most of the time, guilt doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're doing something different. Maybe you grew up believing that saying no is selfish. Maybe you're a natural people pleaser who doesn't want to let anyone down. Or maybe you're just used to putting other people's needs ahead of your own all the time. Whatever the reason, that guilty feeling is often just a sign that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, and honestly, that's where growth happens. Here's the truth: feeling guilty doesn't mean you're bad. It means you care. And when you care, it can feel uncomfortable to put yourself first. But that discomfort is not a red flag, it's a growing pain. You're allowed to protect your peace. You're allowed to say no. And you're allowed to feel a little weird about it at first, that's totally normal. Alright, now that we understand why boundaries matter and why guilt happens, let's get into the good stuff. How do you actually set healthy boundaries without drowning in guilt? Here are 5 simple steps to help you do just that. Step 1. Identify your limits. Before you can set a boundary, you need to know what's not working for you. Ask yourself, what makes me feel drained? Where do I feel resentment? When do I feel like I'm being taken advantage of? These feelings are signals, and they usually point to where a boundary needs to be set. Step 2. Communicate clearly and kindly. This is where most people get stuck, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Use simple, honest language like, I won't be available to help with that this week. I need some alone time after work to recharge. Remember, boundaries are not about controlling others. They're about clearly expressing your needs and limits. And you can do that with kindness. Step 3. Start small. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start by setting one small boundary in a low-stakes situation, maybe declining an invitation, or asking for a moment to think before saying yes. Each small win builds your confidence. Step 4. Expect some pushback and stay firm. Here's the thing: when you start setting boundaries, some people won't like it. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because they're used to the old version of you that said yes to everything. That resistance is a sign that the boundary is working. Stay respectful, but stay firm. No is a complete sentence. Step 5. Remind yourself, self-care is not selfish. You are not a bad person for protecting your mental and emotional energy. In fact, when you honor your limits, you show up better for everyone else, more present, more calm, more you. Every time guilt creeps in, remind yourself. You're doing this to take care of yourself. You're allowed to have needs. Oh, you're allowed to take up space. Let's walk through a quick example so you can hear what setting a healthy boundary actually sounds like. Scenario: a friend texts you asking for help with something, but you're already overwhelmed and need rest. Here's the old response many of us give. I guess I can. I'm tired, but it's okay, what do you need? You say yes out of guilt, and then feel burnt out and maybe even resentful. Now here's a boundary-friendly response. Hey, I'd love to help, but I've had a really long day and I need to rest tonight. I hope it goes smoothly, let's catch up tomorrow. See the difference? You're being kind. You're being honest. And you're not abandoning yourself to avoid a moment of discomfort. That's how you begin to honor your own needs, without guilt and without drama. You made it to the end, and I just want to say, you're already doing the work. Setting healthy boundaries takes courage. It takes practice. And yes, it takes some uncomfortable moments. But every time you honor your needs, you're building a stronger, healthier version of you. Remember, you are not responsible for how others feel about your boundaries. You are allowed to protect your time and energy. And you are worthy of relationships that respect your limits. So give yourself permission to grow one boundary at a time. If this video helped you, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is Mental Wealth Daily, where we help you build a life that feels good from the inside out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.